Duke has been linked to an up-and-coming recruit who already has connections to the program, and we got to break this down. What's up, guys? I'm Matt Long. Welcome to Duke Basketball 365. If you're a Duke Blue Devil fan, please hit that subscribe button. It really helps me out a ton. But let's jump right into the news for today, coming from Deshaun London on X. He is a writer for 24/7 Sports, the #1 recruiting website on the internet. He knows what he's talking about, and he tweets out news: stock rising 4-star Trevor Manhertz has narrowed his focus to 3 schools as he enters decision-making mode. The finalists: Duke, Louisville, and Indiana. More on this player. The 6'8", 185-pound wing from Christ School has been one of the biggest stock risers in his class. And with his development accelerating, Manhertz is now seriously evaluating a potential reclassification to the 2026 class. He is currently focused on 3 programs: Indiana, Duke, and Louisville. Now, getting into who this guy is, he is a 6'8" forward, like that described, rated as a 91 according to 24/7 Sports. The number that I'm sure everyone is looking at when they take a peek at his player rating is ranked 63rd nationally in the country. And a lot of people may be asking themselves, and I understand this sounds pretty privileged, but they may be asking themselves, 63? Isn't that a little bit low of a recruit to be being recruited by the Duke Blue Devils? And that makes a ton of sense. I absolutely understand where people are coming from when they ask that question. But Trevor is being shown as one of the fastest rising prospects. I just wanted to make sure I mentioned the kid's name, Trevor Manhertz. I believe I read his name earlier, but just in case I didn't mention his name, there it is. So one of the fastest rising recruits. My sources are telling me that we need to be paying attention to this recruit, which is why I'm now bringing him to you guys. The composite score is a little bit lower than where 24/7 Sports has him, meaning other recruitment websites are a tad bit lower on Manhertz than 24/7 Sports is. But overall, scouting or recruiting websites agree that he is ranked the 90th best prospect, 25th ranked small forward, and 3rd highest ranked prospect in the state of North Carolina. A quick description coming from 24/7 Sports on his high school athletic background. Trevor Manhertz is a 6'8", 185-pound small forward from Cary, North Carolina. He plays high school for Christ School and plays AAU for Gardner Road. I'm sorry, the rhyme tripped me up a little bit. The summer of 2025, he had a game of 9 for 13 from three-point range. So he is a forward who's also able to shoot the 3 ball and will be able to stretch the floor. If we take a look at the timeline when it comes to this player, we can see the 3 schools that are the finalists for Trevor are the 3 schools that he actually ended up taking a visit to. We can see back in November, he visited Indiana. Then the next day received an offer from the Hoosiers. December 19th, visited the Louisville Cardinals. At some point that is not being shown by this graphic, he was also offered or given an offer by Louisville. And then on December 31st, Trevor Manhertz officially visited the Duke Blue Devil, being on campus for the game versus Georgia Tech, where he was able to get a feel for the program as a whole. One important thing to be mentioned: Indiana. He has we know the final 3 schools for Trevor: Indiana, Louisville, and Duke. Only Indiana and Louisville have offered him a spot. They haven't. Duke is yet to offer Trevor. But like I said earlier, sources with their ears to the ground, people listening close to the program, are telling us that this is someone we do need to be paying attention to despite the lower ranking. And Trevor actually has a connection to the Duke Blue Devils program. His last name is Manhertz, and some people who are extremely plugged in may have actually recognized that name. Trevor Manhertz is the son of Joe Manhertz, who was the AD of athletics for the Iron Dukes for Duke from 2010 to 2021. So he was a big time leader in the Iron Dukes program, which is a program that is pretty much for donations when it comes to Duke's athletic program. So he's a guy that has some pull in the program. It could be a bit of a legacy situation with Trevor Manhertz, but I mean, he's not completely getting here due to legacy. He's still the 63rd ranked player in the country. So it's not completely a Nepo baby type thing. So we got to remember three things. Yes, his rating's lower, but he has the connection. And the most important thing is the thing that has nothing to do with his father, which is the fact that he is currently an extremely fast riser, as named by 24/7 Sports, one of the fastest risers in the entire class of 2027. Now, considering a reclassification to the class of 2026 to come join Duke for next season. We're going to have to stick around to see what Jon Scheyer ends up wanting to do. For a small forward, 6'8", maybe at slightly on the tall side, but we know Jon Scheyer is looking for taller players. It doesn't scream tall Jon Scheyer type of player, but if we've been watching the games, and I know you guys are watching these games close, you would know that Duke, this season, we're all about shooting the 3-point shot. So Trevor coming in to this program would make a whole lot of sense as a shooter. The plan now is to spray threes. It is what the Boston Celtics did 2 years ago when they won the NBA championship. I got to sometimes slow myself down before calling it a national championship, because I know that's not what it's called in the NBA or in any professional sports. But the Boston Celtics chucked up a lot of threes, won a championship. Now the New York Knicks, my personal favorite NBA team, they're trying to copy that Celtics mold of chuck a ton of threes. It's a mathematical thing. And now Duke is trying to do the same thing. That's what has led to the uptick in three-pointers being attempted by the Duke Blue Devils this season. It's not something that you usually see. With Jon Scheyer's teams, they've had more shooting, where you may remember towards the end of Coach K's career, we had a lot of teams. Like the team that jumps out for this example to me is the Zion 2019 year, where we have crazy athletes, but the shooting as a team isn't that good. And that's usually what ends up sinking us in March Madness. Jon wants to put together a team where not everyone, of course, but we're able to shoot the ball at a high level on top of being extremely athletic, even if that means not bringing in the top recruits possible. I'm not saying that Coach K only cared about getting that number as high as possible, your rating number, but that's kind of what you remember. And I only remember really getting the cream of the crop top guys, whereas Jon Scheyer goes to the transfer portal to go get someone like Sion James or Malik Brown, guys that aren't the number one biggest name, but they're a better fit. And especially in the case of Sion James, they can shoot the 3-point shot at a high level. And we know that's what we want to be doing. But very entertaining game last night. We have to stop. It's good that we're a very dangerous second half team, but we have to stop relying on that. When we get to March, that's not going to work when after round one, or even really in round one as well, we are going to be playing a ton of highly talented teams back to back to back. And we are not going to be able to go on a deep run in March like we want to if we keep falling behind in these first halves. So, first of all, we got to get out on the 3-point line. It's not a surprise that in the second half versus Louisville, once we started running them off the 3-point line, they weren't making threes at a ridiculously high clip. If you were paying attention to the broadcasters, it was actually Jay Bills calling the game. The guy that was hitting all the threes for Louisville is a terrible shooter, and we decided we were going to leave him open all game. That doesn't work anymore. We're seeing it in the NBA, which is slowly transitioning over to the college game. People are shooting more and more threes, and we have to be able to defend the 3-point line very well if we are going to be making a run deep this year. But that's what I got for this video. If you stuck around this long, I appreciate you taking the time to watch the video all the way through. Please hit that like button if you haven't already. Hit the subscribe button if you're new to the channel, and go Duke.